Hello. So I had promised a while ago that I would make a video about why we have to go through IVF. So I think I'm ready to do that. It's just been like a month of waiting for my appointment. So I don't really have much to report in terms of what's going on now. My next appointment is uh, on July the 6th to figure out next steps and get some more information. So I don't have anything to say about what's going on right now, but yeah, so the reason why we have to do IVF, there's, I don't even know where to start. So my husband and I tried in 2015, and it took us 3 months to get a positive pregnancy test, and it was over the moon, excited. I was so happy. It was like the greatest moment. You just couldn't feel more happy than getting that type of news and just being so excited for what's to come, and taking like that next step in your relationship. And so yeah, it was I got the positive pregnancy test like 2 days before Halloween. And I had a scheduled doctor's appointment on November the 2nd, and or like already set. So when I went to that doctor's appointment, I told them, I got this positive pregnancy test. It's so great. It only took 3 months. I was happy about that. We're both at that time we would have been 34 ish, 34, 35, maybe 34 probably. So I knew going into it that we could have some extra challenges, but so I wasn't expecting it to happen so fast. So yeah, right away they had me do blood work, to confirm the pregnancy, and all that fun stuff that you go through. So I got a phone call. I think it's been a little bit. It's been a little while. We're in 2018 right now, and this happened in 2015. So it's been a while, and a lot of these memories I've really suppressed. But I think I got a phone call and just asking to go back and do more blood work, that my pregnancy hormone, the HCG level that they use for testing, was just slightly lower than what it should be for the date that I was telling them that would be like the day of my last period, that they would go by for telling how far along I would be. So it wasn't really matching up, and said, no worries, like you could have just gotten pregnant, later than that. And I knew in my head that my cycle is very regular. So in my head that I was like, yeah, maybe, but I was like, I don't think so. So I went back and I did another test, and the way that your pregnancy hormone is supposed to rise, it's supposed to be like doubling every 2 days or something like that. And mine wasn't doing that. It was not climbing quickly enough up. It was not doubling. So they just continue to monitor me and monitor me and monitor me. And in my head, I already knew something was wrong. I just feel like sometimes you just know when it's not right and it doesn't feel right. And um so they were trying to keep me so optimistic, but I just knew inside this isn't right. This doesn't feel right. It just something's wrong. I don't know. And so they just kept monitoring me and monitoring me and monitoring me, and then they sent me for an ultrasound, and they couldn't see anything because my levels weren't high enough. And by that point, I just knew something this wasn't going to end well. So I don't really remember what happened next, but I know they told me be prepared to miscarry. I think is what they told me to watch for. And they told me, if you have any sudden pain, let us know. You know, just all these things to watch out for. And you know, they throw around the idea of ectopic. And so I just waited and waited and waited for something to happen. And so I'm not I want to say it was probably about 8 weeks at this point. I started feeling like cramping, and I started spotting, and so and then the cramps were unbelievable, and then I bled, and I just okay. I'm like, okay, we just miscarried, and I was heartbroken, and I went through an entire grieving process. And I don't, just so many things I felt when that happened, and I went on with my life, for as best as whatever you can. So my husband's home. This might be a little chaotic right now. So I started. I don't eat red meat, and I had something that had red meat, and I remember feeling like I had like heartburn, and don't make noise. So I remember feeling like I had heartburn, and I thought, oh, this is weird, and then it went away, and then I got it again a little bit later, and I thought, okay, this is really strange. Michael,
Hey,
Michael,
what?
I'm making a video, so can you please pipe it down?
What?
I'm making a video.
Oh,
Yeah, can you close the door, maybe?
are you live right now?
Yeah.
Oh,
You want to be in it?
No, not really.
Sorry. So, yeah, I had this like heartburn feeling, and it was like like right underneath your breasts, and like in that kind of triangle spot where the only way I can think to explain it is the place where we're supposed to do like CPR. So that spot kept feeling like I had heartburn. So then I had this meeting that I had to go to, and it was like a business meeting. So I had to go, and I had plans to go, and I was feeling really crappy the night before, but it was really important that I go, so I went. And it's funny because in the moment I had to go, everything just kind of settled down, and I was feeling okay. So I went, and I know everything was fine, and then I went home to my parents' house, and I got this overwhelming feeling of that like hurt, like I don't even know, it was just like this pain in that sort of triangle spot. And I didn't I didn't know what it was, but I couldn't move. And so my dad was home and I was like, I can't move. I don't know what it is. I think I have like indigestion. I don't know. So he made me like one of those um like drinks, like Alka-Seltzer or something, drinks, and I drank it and I actually started feeling better. So I went downstairs and I was there and I was really just kind of uncomfortable, and there I may have been spotting it. I don't honestly remember too much about this, but my husband came to get me and we went home. When we got home, um, that pain was like, I can't even describe um, the type of pain I was feeling. Um, Anytime I leaned back even just a little bit, I was like gasping for like, it was like and it was really scary. Um, so I had that. Um, I just, I didn't know what was happening. I really didn't know. And I asked my husband to take me to emergency. And um, he sort of felt like I was exaggerating at that moment. And it was, we won't go there. But so he wouldn't take me. Um, and he had to work the next day, and it was just really, there was a lot going on. Um so after like a few hours of not being able to lean back, not being able to do anything, um I and just crying and crying and crying, I all I wanted to do was go to sleep. So I was finally able, after I don't know how many attempts, to lie down, um, and I fell asleep. I'm not really sure how that pain went away, to be honest. It just did, for me to be able to go to sleep. So I I went to sleep. I woke up the next day, and my husband called me and said, "Are you still feeling um, like poorly?" And I said, "Yes." And now, when I push on my stomach, the release is like another undescribable pain. I don't even know how to describe half the things that I was feeling or going through. Uh, so he said, okay, he was supposed to work, until like late at night. And he said, okay, I'm leaving early and we'll go to the hospital. So we went to the hospital and they took me in. They, ran some tests, did some blood work. And then they came back and they said, uh, oh, I forgot a part. So when I thought I miscarried, my levels dropped. My hormone levels, they had dropped. So everything looked as if I was miscarrying. Um, so they did blood work when I was at the hospital, and they said, your hormone levels are like really high. And I said, no, that can't be, because they were dropping, and I bled, like I miscarried. And they're like, no, like they're high, and they weren't real high. They were like in the thousands, but um, and I said, I don't understand. Like I don't understand. And then you have almost, even though you're going through all this pain and you should know something's wrong, you have that sort of glimmer of hope come back, like, oh my gosh, like my pregnancy levels are there. Maybe the baby's still alive. Maybe everything's good. You have that glimmer. And so they took me into ultrasound. Um, I don't know, like if you're watching from different countries. In Canada, they don't tell you anything. They don't show you anything. It's kind of frustrating sometimes. So they just did the ultrasound, and I went back out in the waiting room. So um, everything after that is just like a blur. Um, they came quick. In here, when you get results like that, you wait like an hour, if not longer, just for them to give you results. If there's something wrong, they don't take an hour. So it was quick. I just know that I was waiting, and all of a sudden I'm being poked and prodded and things are being put on my wrist, and I'm just like, well, I don't know what is happening. And they're like, um, I found out in that moment that I had had an ectopic pregnancy and that it ruptured and that I was um, in need of emergency surgery. So they didn't give me much information because they just moved so fast. They just had to get me in there like right away. Um, so I was really scared. Um, sorry. I just begged them, please don't let me die. Sorry. Um, I was just really scared. Um, I had already sorry. I'd already grieved the loss. So I wasn't, I mean, it brought it all back and it sucked. It really sucked. But I had already sort of known that, you know, it wasn't going to happen this time. Um, but I never imagined it would be like this. So they rushed me into emergency surgery. And I remember waking up on the maternity like ward. Sorry. And I could hear babies crying, and I just thought, why would you put me here? This is like the meanest thing you could ever do to somebody who just went through what I went through. And so there it was. Now I had to recover. I lost my my left, my right tube. I lost my right tube. So that, you know, you lose a piece of you lose a piece of your womanhood. So not only was I grieving the loss of a pregnancy, I was now also having to grieve the loss of a piece of my womanhood, my ability to like have another baby. So then we went on, and you know, it took me a couple weeks to be able to walk properly without being in a lot of pain, because I had stitches, and they said I was very lucky. I was very lucky to have made it to the hospital when I did, because I was very full of my abdomen, my belly was very full of blood, and that pain that I was feeling the night before where I couldn't breathe, it was because all of that blood was pushing up against my diaphragm. So I had extreme shoulder tip pain afterwards for a long time. And it really, I don't wish that experience to anyone. I don't wish that anyone have to go through what I went through. So we know when it's all over, we had a follow-up appointment, and you just want to try again. You just want to go and you want to be able to try again, and you just want this nightmare to be over, and to be able to just try to be able to try again. In that appointment, they told me that I had a molar ectopic pregnancy. The chances of that happening is like 1 in a million. I don't quite understand still to this day how that is, because the when you have an ectopic pregnancy, your HCG levels don't rise the way they're supposed to. They're not doubling every day. They're not going high. With a molar pregnancy, it's the opposite. It skyrockets. A lot of people get very, very sick. And mine weren't like that. I didn't feel any of those symptoms. So I don't really truly get it. Maybe it's different because it was in my tube. I really don't know. I don't understand. To this day I don't get it. I've asked sometimes and people don't really give straight answers. So I mean, I could search for it, but in all honesty, I've just really tried to push away everything that happened, and hence the reason it's taken me so long to even make this video. I've suppressed a lot. I'm sure I'm missing details. I've suppressed a lot of it so that I don't really know how to deal with it. I deal with it the best I can, but I don't think anything really makes it better. I don't really think that. I think for the rest of my life, this will always be a part of me, and what happened will always have an impact on my life, and there's not much I can do about that. But yeah, so we got that news, and then a part of that news was that we couldn't try again for a year, and that was devastating all over again. It was just like a nightmare. We had to wait a full year. With our age, a year is like, I'm just rounding 35 at that point, or if not turning 35. So it becomes kind of scary. So then after 6 months, they told me, okay, you can try now. You're clear. Everything looks good, I guess, as long as everything's, that your blood work. I was again monitored for blood for weeks, months. So then we tried and we tried and we tried and we tried, and it just never happened. And we were with another clinic, and I had like investigative surgery to see, what's going on, like why it wouldn't happen. And turns out that they removed a little bit of endometriosis. It's nothing that should have really prevented a pregnancy, but it's just kind of unexplained. But going through the IVF process, I've noticed that I've noticed that my right ovary, so the side missing the tube, the ovary is very low, so everything's lower, and then the left side, which is good, the ovary is really high up. So I feel like maybe things on the functional side, I feel like things maybe just can't grasp everything and bring it down. I really don't know, but there's nothing there that should be preventing us from having a baby. But it's been now we're in 2018 and we've had no luck, so we're turning to IVF. And I just, I honestly, I pray and I pray and I pray every day that this will, like, just please, please work. Um, I just, it's just something that we really want, and I've, I just really want to bring a life into this world, with my husband, and um, I don't even know really what, like, I don't even have words to describe how badly I want this to happen for us. And this is the kind of the last thing, the last straw. So we've been extremely blessed um to get 15 that are frozen, and I just pray every day that, please, please God, take care of my embryos, and please make them healthy, and just all those things that we need in order to be successful with this. So anyways, that is my backstory. That's why we have to do IVF. um like I said, I'm probably missing things, but it's extremely emotional for me, to think about going through all that, and just, I'm extremely grateful that I ended up coming out healthy, and that, it could have been a lot worse. We could have lost a lot more than my tube. Um, so I'm grateful to be here, and I'm grateful to try, and I'm grateful for the clinic that I'm at, and yeah. So that's my story. Thanks for listening and sharing in it. And um, if anyone has any questions about anything, I'm more than happy to answer. Um, I I do talk about it. It's just to get right into it, like raw and emotional, and describe everything. Um, it's really reliving a moment, and that's sometimes hard. Um, but yeah, thanks for listening. Have a good night. Bye.